Welcome to episode 6 of Euro Previews, and today's episode is on the defending champions, Italy. But as we know with Italy in the past decade, it is up and down like the stock market. And now recently, after missing another World Cup, yes, the PTSD will kick in for Italians. Is there new hope under manager Spalletti? Can they rediscover their form? And can they do a repeat of European champions? Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. Our like count goal is 150 likes, so let's get to it, people. But now, let's get to the preview and prediction for Italy for this summer's Euros. Oh, Italy. It's never easy for this national team. I'm not even going to show their record in the World Cup because the PTSD will be insane, missing back-to-back World Cups. But in the Euros, they do perform. Runners-up in 2000, 2004 group stage. Yeah, that was a bit of a controversial one. 2008 quarterfinals, 2012 runners-up. They were just up against the greatest international team of all time. Quarterfinals 2016, losing on penalties. And 2020, they were champions under Roberto Mancini. So, yes, they might not be the greatest in World Cup qualifiers or World Cups, but in the Euros, Italy do perform. And they're going to have to perform. There will always be pressure on the Italian national team. Whether they're garbage or not, there will always be pressure to perform. That's what you do when you've won 4 World Cups. That's the big boys. You're not a Czech Republic. You're not a Slovakia. You're not a Denmark. Italy are one of the greatest international teams of all time. So they're going to have expectation of at least making it to a semifinals. I'm not saying they're going to make it there, and I'm going to give my prediction of how far I think Italy can go, but there is pressure. Yes, it is not a golden time of Italian football where there's a lot of star players from Baggio to Baresi to Maldini and these guys, and you look at the strikers and you're like, where is the top class striker for Italy? Well, we'll find out at this Euros. Under Spalletti, they're going in a new direction. They're trying to rediscover their form that they showed under Mancini, where they had a long unbeaten streak, and maybe they will find it at this Euros. But there is always pressure to perform for the Italian national team. There's no doubt about it. And if you look at their form recently for Italy, well, it's not disastrous. You know, a 1-1 draw against North Macedonia. It was Spalletti's first game in charge. Then a 2-1 victory over Ukraine, Malta, England away. Of course, you're going to lose to England because England are just a better team and have more talent. Then 5-2 win over North Macedonia. The Ukraine game was a bit of a controversial one as well, but they got the job done and they qualified to another Euros. And then the 2 friendlies. Not the greatest performances. You're not like, oh my god, Italy are back. But build some momentum. Build some winning character within these guys. Because it just seems like Italy have a high, and then they have a low. Then they have a high, then they have a low. So, what is it going to be for this Euros? Well, it's a bit difficult to call. Because with these results, you can just see that, yes, Italy have some players. They have Retegui, they have Barella, they have Jorginho, Di Marco, Bastoni. They have a lot of good players. Can they piece it together? And can Spalletti, who's been only in the job for now, 8 games? He's only got 1 loss, and that was to England away. So if there's one manager I can bank on doing well, it is Spalletti. Mancini left him in a tough position. Mancini said, oh, okay, adios, buddies. I'm going to Saudi Arabia. I'm going to take the money. And, well, Mancini's not doing the greatest with Saudi Arabia. So Spalletti's come into a difficult situation. They had to go by qualifiers. Yes, it always just seems now with qualifiers, Italy are just going to struggle. They're going to give their fans a heart attack. But hopefully now with the 2 friendlies beating Venezuela and Ecuador, they're no joke. They're no joke. You're not beating Faroe Islands, San Marino. Venezuela and Ecuador are tough opponents. So for Italy to only concede 1 goal, and that was basically a Donnarumma mistake, and getting 2 goals, shows that there is quality within this team. But how will they perform under their new manager for 8 games, Spalletti? And, well, what can we say about Spalletti? I'm wearing the Napoli kit because he obviously delivered their first Serie A trophy in a very, very long time, and I rate the manager highly. He's just chilling on his vineyard somewhere in Italy, just relaxing, drinking the wine, having a good time. Then he gets up the call. Yeah, Mancini's gone. You want to take over? You want to take over? I know you don't like ADL. I mean, a lot of people don't like ADL. We know that already. But Spalletti took the job. And now, let's see what he can do with international football. One is, I think he's got to really perform at this Euros. At least the quarterfinals. You have to build some momentum and some confidence within these players to qualify for a World Cup. Please, Italy, qualify for the next World Cup. So for Spalletti, is it a free hit this Euros? No, it isn't. You still got to perform. Yeah, you're in a tough group with Croatia, Spain, and Albania, but you still got to perform. There's none of this, oh, if you go out of the group stage, everything's fine. If Italy go out of the group stage, Spalletti's he's in the heat. He's in the inferno. So, Spalletti is a very experienced manager. He's dealt with difficult circumstances, but this is another difficult circumstance that he has to deal with. So I would trust the manager. You gotta just ride it out. If it's gonna be a struggle at times, it's not gonna be beautiful football, that's the Italian way. Sometimes it's just going to have to be that way. And I think for Spalletti, we saw with Napoli, they were such a good attacking team, very structured at the back. And I'm sure he's going to bring that to the Italian national team as he should. And it's about now getting the forwards in motion. Chiesa, Scamacca, Raspadori, whoever, Zaniolo. These guys, Spalletti has to get them into some confidence. Get them the style of play that everybody can feel comfortable and everybody can play to the best of their ability. There's one manager in Italy that can do that right now alongside Inzaghi. It is Spalletti. So let's see what Spalletti can do at this Euros. Donnarumma. We saw how clutch Donnarumma was at the last Euros. Unbelievable goalkeeper. Club career-wise, it's been weird. Because obviously he was captain of AC Milan at a young age. Then he left for PSG for money. And then everybody said, Donnarumma. He hasn't reached to the peak of his ability. The peak of his ability was that Euros 2021 final. Right? The penalty shootout, coming up clutch, being that sort of presence, being that aura. Nothing was going to defeat him other than the Luke Shaw goal. That's the sort of Donnarumma we want. Club career-wise, I mean, the guy's just making mistakes. On the ball, he just doesn't look comfortable. Great shot stopper. No doubt about it. Great shot stopper. On the ball, that's where I would be worried with Donnarumma. So he's going to have to elevate his play. There's no Bonucci. There's no Chiellini. There's not a lot of experience within the defense. Yes, you have a Acerbi, but Acerbi doesn't touch Bonucci or Chiellini. He doesn't. He's done well with Inter, but those two were dynamite center-backs for Italy. Now he's got to deal with Bastoni, Acerbi, and whoever the third center-back will be for Italy. So Donnarumma is going to have to come up clutch and make key saves. If Italy are under pressure, Donnarumma's got to step up. And Donnarumma is one of the best players for Italy. So I'm expecting him to have a big Euros, and he's going to have one if Italy want to progress far at this Euros. Unfortunate, man. Just Chiesa, that last Euros, we just saw a kid turn into a man, turn into a star. Since then, it's just been injuries and, I mean, well, no, his manager is Allegri, so what is he going to progress with? But it just seems like Chiesa just has kind of lost that little bit of step. You see glimpses, right? He shows it 1 or 2 games, but it's not consistent enough. Chiesa is a wonderful footballer. Nobody's going to deny Chiesa is a baller. The issue is injuries and a lack of confidence. Hopefully, under Spalletti, he can rediscover that form for Italy, especially at the Euros. Because if you look at their forward line, I mean, are you going to trust Zaniolo? Are you going to trust Raspadori? You're not going to trust those guys. Yes, they can be key players, but Chiesa has to be that guy. And I'm going to talk about tactics. For Chiesa, where does he want to play? He wants to play in the left wing. He wants to go at defenders. One-on-one demon. That's what Chiesa is. A one-on-one demon. He can beat a man. Playing as a second striker, I just don't think he's comfortable in that position whatsoever. So he's going to have to adapt his game. And Spalletti's got to adapt to him as well, saying, hey, what's your most suitable position? Where can I get the best out of you? But for Chiesa as an individual, I want him to rise. I'm not going to expect to see that same Chiesa from the last Euros. Last Euros, Chiesa was a monster. He was an absolute beast. We saw what he did against Spain. We saw what he did against Austria. Unbelievable performances. At this Euros, I just want him to rediscover that form. You know, it's not too late for him. He can still perform at the highest level. And maybe this Euros can be a kickstart for his career. You know, get the engine going, right? You're stuck in second gear. Let's get it up to 6th gear. Then we get up to 7th gear. Maybe Chiesa can do it at this Euros. He's a wonderful footballer. And I think we all want him to do well. And hopefully he can do well at this Euros. So here are the tactics then for Italy, people, under Spalletti. It's been now a 3-4-2-1 formation as their last 2 games against Ecuador and Venezuela, and I see nothing going to change here. I think this suits this Italian team. They just don't have a right winger. Berardi is a critical miss because he's now injured for the rest of the season. He was a little bit of a key player for Spalletti, you know, rising up against North Macedonia, then obviously the injury. So I think Spalletti realized, yeah, there's no other right winger. Let me just go with this. So what would be my starting 11 for Italy? Obviously Donnarumma in goal. Then you got to go with Bastoni, Acerbi. And who's going to be the third center back? Is it going to be Darmian, Di Lorenzo, Buongiorno? I think Buongiorno looks like a good player from Torino. I would probably go with Darmian because Darmian is sort of comfortable in that right center back position. Di Lorenzo, not so much. He can be a good sub. in this action. Then who will be the two wing backs? No doubt is Di Marco, because Udogie is injured. So Di Marco, I think one of the best left backs in the world. He's going to be the left wing back. And then Bellanova at right wing back. And he's going to be a key part of this because of his pace and ability to stretch the field. Then that will allow the likes of Chiesa, Pellegrini, and these sort of guys to flourish in the attack. Then the field will be stretched out for the midfielders to create. Then the two midfielders, Jorginho, Barella. I don't think there's any questions about that. Does anybody have any... Anybody else? Nobody else? Cool. We're going to go with those two. Yes, you could say Locatelli and these guys, but I think Jorginho, Barella deserve it. Then you're going to play Pellegrini, sort of in that second 10 role, alongside Chiesa. And my striker would be Scamacca. I know Retegui has done well for the Azzurri. Scamacca, inferno right now. He's on form. You have to start Scamacca. With the way he's playing for Atalanta, going to a Coppa Italia final, going to a Europa League final, you got to go with the guy who's hot. Retegui, good super sub. Not a bad super sub. Better than Belotti. I'll tell you that. Definitely better than Belotti. So, Retegui, Scamacca, that's your two strikers. So the issue is here. Where are the goals going to come from in this team? Who will get the critical goals? Is it going to be Pellegrini? He scored a wonderful goal against Ecuador in that friendly. That's my sort of issue with this team. I think this team can keep a clean sheet. They can keep the ball. They can keep possession. They can defend well out of possession. The only issue is how are they going to get the goals? It's going to have to be the play of Scamacca with his hold-up play. Then that allows then Chiesa to make runs in behind. That's why I think where Italy can get joy in this Euros. If you look at the midfield, Barella and Jorginho, they're going to go up against Croatia. And we know the ballers that Croatia have in the midfield. And we know Spain's midfield. Deadly. So, Jorginho, Barella, and Pellegrini, who will kind of be that third midfielder playing in the 10 role, they're going to have a tough job. They're going to have an absolutely tough job. So my bet would be that Pellegrini, we see his play with AS Roma since De Rossi has been manager. Elevation. Playing well. That's the sort of players you need. You can keep going with those guys. Zaniolo, I'm sorry, he does not deserve to start. He doesn't. What has he shown in the last couple months? Good super sub. Again, another good super sub. Like Raspadori, another good super sub. Fratesi can be a good super sub. They cannot start. So, I want to hear your thoughts though. Who would you start as striker? Who would you play as the two players behind Scamacca in this team? And I think the defense chooses itself. Obviously, goalkeeper and the midfield chooses itself and the two fullbacks. But I want to hear your thoughts. What would be your starting 11 for the Azzurri at this summer's Euros? Tough group. Very, very tough group. It always seems that Italy get a tough group in the Euros. But we got Spain, Croatia, and Albania for Italy. If you look at this, you're like, hey! Not great. You're going up against Spain, one of the best teams in Europe. Croatia, we know these guys. You never can underestimate them with the quality they have. And do not sleep on Albania. Albania can definitely surprise Italy. So, if you're Italian, I would be worried. First game against Albania, that has to be 3 points. If you don't get 3 points there, panic. Red button on the president's table, panic button settings. Italy have to win that game. They got to build some confidence. Second game against Spain. If you get 4 points, that you can at least get to the round of 16. So this is going to be a very intriguing test for Italy in this Euros to see how far has Spalletti grown with this side. How much chemistry have they built? How much quality does the Italian national team actually have in all departments from defense to midfield to attack? I don't know. My prediction would be I think Italy are making it to a quarterfinal. That's as far as I think they can go. Quarterfinal max. Semi-final, I would actually kind of be shocked. Depends on obviously the route and who they could play for. But I think Italy are a quarterfinal team, which I don't think is the worst outcome considering that Mancini left and then you're missing the World Cup. You just got to build some confidence. I don't think Italy should be under pressure to win this Euros, but you got to at least make it out of the group in quarterfinals. I think that's the minimum. If they can do that, that's good. Build some confidence with Spalletti, and the main goal is qualify for the damn World Cup. That's the main goal. But for this Euros, quarterfinal max, I want to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. How far do you think Italy will progress at this Euros? Is it quarterfinal, semi-final? Are they going to go back-to-back? I mean, if Italy go back-to-back, this one would be more shocking than the last one. No, hands down. That last team at 2021, they were on such a good roll, and the streak was insane. They were such an organized team. This time around, I would be shocked. If they could beat like a Spain, a France, and England on the route to winning this Euros, whew, like they did at the last Euros, Spalletti, he needs a statue. Statue ASAP next to the Colosseum. If he wins this Euros, I don't think it's going to happen. My guess is a quarterfinal prediction for Italy. Thank you all for watching. There's the preview and prediction for Italy for this summer's Euros. It's going to be an intriguing one. Remember to check out the other previews. I've done all of teams in the Group A, Spain, and now Italy. So remember to check out the playlist, the Euro 2024, as we build up to the summer's tournament. Remember to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. The next video will be on Albania. So have a beautiful day. Stay safe in this crazy world. Until next time, adios.